The agitation by South Africans has got a whole lot of Africans worried and asking very important questions. Where did we get it wrong? Nigerians have been worried as well and trying to analyze as well as piece this whole event. Where did Nigerians get it wrong? Because Nigerians remember vividly the role they played in South Africa's liberation. Nigeria would place sanction on South Africa. Nigeria gave visa, gave her passport to many South Africans, and provided scholarship for every South African child so that South Africans will feel this sense of belonging. And we were meant to sing even South African national anthem, the one the liberators called their own national anthem in protest against the hegemony of the white minority. Sometimes Nigerians are of the opinion that they probably didn't sustain or build on what they did for South Africa. That means they didn't go in there to continue with that relationship instead of pulling out. They didn't ordinarily would have had the first set of judges and other workers you would find in South Africa would have been Nigerians. That way, we built a relationship that is interconnected, interwoven, and we wouldn't have this type of anger and disagreements that have led to the total collapse of what we see today. It's xenophobia, no doubt, but I knew we are going to get here. For several reasons and factors, we may even account that what is happening today could be documented or said to be responsible for. One, do you want to look at these things from the perspective of Elon Musk? Could he probably be instigating those who don't see who is beating the drums today? It's an allegation. I do not know. It's an angle people don't see these things from because there are quite a lot of sanctions on South Africa today from the US. And South Africa is battling issues around inflation as they go towards the elections. The job cuts and lack of opportunities are beginning to become so dear that the conversations now are on who have migrated into South Africa, majorly immigrants. And as France for now, we always say that the oppressed will always look for others to oppress. And who do the South Africans see? The migrants who are pretty much aching out a living. And the whole buck stops on the government to protect the immigrants. But because of electoral issues or political correctness, the government is also letting what's happening to fester. But it has a deeper seated problem for South Africa because South Africa cannot exist as a pariah. If South Africa chases other Africans away, they have no capacity to manage these businesses. We have seen even where they can't even challenge other foreigners who are not black people in their countries. They kowtow to them and are almost licking their feet. Have they sat down, paused to even ask themselves, who takes over these businesses when these guys are gone?
You see, South Africans now are busy chasing away foreigners. A time would come, if we were to be governed by characters like Paul and Julius, where black South Africans would be scattered across the country. They, black South Africans, would be chased away. By the way, it would be worse for black South Africans because you see now they're chasing away Africans.
It probably will be the Dutch, the Indians, and the Chinese. At the end of the day, what South Africans have been crying about is going to be double jeopardy because it means they have no economy. The black people in South Africa have nothing to fall back on. And what we see would be worse than what South Africans experienced during the apartheid. And this is more or less economic slavery. The other time they had political slavery, they had a whole lot and they fought for independence. When South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Committee, led by Desmond Tutu, was established, and Desmond Tutu didn't want people to speak about what they felt or how South Africa needed to move forward. I knew that there was going to be a problem. And that's what we all see today because lack of opportunities, there's widespread inequality, the gaps are widening, and there are no educational support services to probably bring the ordinary South Africans up to speed or somewhere up there to actually compete favorably. So it's not about chasing migrants away because when you chase migrants out is in the name of illegal migration, what then is left for you? How do you fix the problem? Just like Julius Malema did ask.
You said they take jobs. I asked the question. 300 Ghanaians went back to Ghana 3 days ago. Show me 300 jobs which were created after those 3 Ghanaians left. Stop the hate, because from xenophobia, It's going to be tribalism.
How many jobs have been provided since they left? We didn't just even end here. The World Cup clearly demonstrated what South Africa had done to other Africans, because Mexicans and the rest of the world got to know firsthand what other Africans were experiencing in South Africa. This is what I see that we need to look at. If we don't fix these things as Africans, if South Africans don't begin to think that they are not a pariah state, they really don't have what it takes to stand on their own. It's just that the economy to some extent is okay. But the truth is, the economy wouldn't have been okay if immigrants and every other person didn't build it. No man builds his own society alone. He needs support from everywhere. And that's what pretty much has happened. So I think the government of South Africa needs to go back to the drawing board and try to make amends and appease other Africans and see how Africa will build a better economy. The economy of Africa is currently being threatened, and Africans seem not to see what's coming upon them. I could predict the next 10, 15, 20 years of Africa. It doesn't look good, but this is integrating Africa, which is easy, and this is what they are doing. It's not to our advantage. It's not to the advantage of the South Africans who keep saying, go back home, who keep saying, I don't like foreigners. And when they say, I don't like foreigners, they say, I don't like fellow Africans. We need to go back and fix these issues. These issues are deep-seated. It's not issue of migration. It's not issue of illegal migration as well. It's a deep-seated systemic problems. Africans are not migrants to any African nations. If they have migrated illegally and they are not found to have criminal backgrounds, why not find a pathway to regularizing their migration and live peacefully? For me, these are the things Africans need to be doing, particularly South Africa. I don't know what you think about this, but I love to read your thoughts and opinion on this issue, and I hope to see you in the next video.